Welcome to Broken Kayfabe, the unofficial after show of Breaking Kayfabe with Bowdrin and Barry. And Ariel, we've got a lot to talk about here today. And how's it going?
It's going well right now. It's unfortunately it's raining here in San Jose, but we do need the water, so it's okay. How about over there?
Man, that's how you know you're getting old. When it rains, if you say, "Oh boy, we needed it."
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but it is also true here in California. We've been facing major drought issues for several years now, and then aside from that, we get wildfires in the summertime, and it's just crazy here. But we do need the water, and you don't you don't appreciate water as much as when you're going through a drought and the city or county is imposing restrictions on the water usage you can use for your household. So, we've gone through that before. And yeah, rain is always a good thing here in California.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I know you guys have a big problem with the droughts out there. We are great over here on the East Coast. It's getting into the 80s again. Ooh. That's pretty quick.
Yeah. Wow. Always like 70s, 80s over there, right? Around this time of year, right?
Yeah. So we actually just got back into the 80s. It's been 70s. We had the longest cold period that I remember. I've only been here 3 years, but it was the longest cold period that I remember.
So what's cold? 60s?
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, the other night Jan and I were sitting out on the porch and I was like, I'm cold. Let's go in. I looked down and it was 63.
Wow. Spoiled. I love it though. I love it. I love it when it gets that cold and it's considered cold. Here it would be like around 50s or 60s it would be considered California cold also. So but yeah. But it's humid over there, right?
Oh man, yeah, like almost 100% all the time.
Oh yeah, we don't get that humidity over here. It's more like Mediterranean weather here in the Bay Area. So it's very mild weather, and it's not as humid at all, depending where you're at. So it's very pleasant here, especially in the Bay Area part.
Well, good. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. Some of the things we're going to talk about is your hometown. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about my personal experience with Vroom, and then we'll talk about stalking wrestlers. And no, this isn't the plan on how to stalk wrestlers. We'll just talk about that. And
that's on the Patreon.
That's on the Patreon. And we also have a upcoming interview with my friend Jeff the Scientist, who lives out in Las Vegas and who had a cup of coffee in the wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I did want to mention before we get rocking and rolling, there was someone that posted something about being peer pressured to drink, and sort of that, right?
Right.
That it was. He was saying, he's rare, he doesn't drink, and I'm going to say I don't. Please don't be one of those people who peer pressure someone into doing things like drinking or whatever it is that you're doing, unless there's some benefits to it, right?
Right, exactly. But I don't see any benefits of peer pressuring at all. So
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I just felt for that guy who's, he seemed like he's, probably our age and, so 40s plus and, he's feels like, he's being peer pressured to drink or whatever. And if you're one of those people who peer pressures people to do stuff, either you're a teenager or you're an asshole or you're both.
Exactly. Like, who peer pressures other like grown ass adults nowadays? It's a certain type of asshole that does that. I mean, you would expect that from, like you said, a teenager, of course. But when you're a grown adult and you're still doing that to people, and that's that's shitty. That's very shitty.
Yeah, yeah. So that's that. And I won't get into an old man rant about that. The other thing that we wanted to talk about was our failed contest.
Yes. Yeah.
And yes, yeah. The failed contest. and you know, I wanted to do it to you know, because I thought it'd be fun, but it turns out that no one wanted to do it. And I want to thank Barry and Jeff for cutting their promos. That was fun and awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
For them to do, and I appreciate that. But I just thought it'd be fun for the brothership. Apparently, the brothership disagreed, and they decided it would not be fun, so they did not participate. No big deal. I'm not mad. I was wrong. I was wrong. It would not be fun for us. So anyway, no harm, no foul. But I did have one person submit a interest. Let me pull that up.
I loved it. I personally loved it. I think he should just win the contest. Just give him the prize. Just give him the prize. He deserved it. He actually cut a promo, sent it to us, and I personally liked it a lot.
Ariel, I love you, man.
Isn't it the one that you sent me?
Oh, I did send it. Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did send it. Yeah, you did. So I heard it and I loved it. So he should get the prize.
It was great. I want to thank Shard Johnson for doing that.
Thank you, Shard.
He did. He was the only person that cut one after it was after Barry and Jeff. And I had these big envisions of, we'll go weeks and weeks and have all this fun. But it turns out, no, we will not be doing that. But so anyway, thank you, Shard, for doing that. That was awesome, and we really enjoyed it.
This kind of bluegrass.
Grassroots
type of podcast that we're operating right now. Just two guys shooting the shit, don't know a lick about technology.
Well, you call it grassroots. Somebody else would call it outlaw mud show.
Well, I didn't want to get too. I didn't want to use that terminology. That's for that's more derogatory. So, this is the type of thing though that two not so professional podcasters that just want to shoot the shit and just put out some content for others to enjoy. This is the kind of content kind of issues that we have right now. But it's all good.
That's true. All 100% correct, as our friends would say.
We don't have the budget for producers or very good audio equipment or computers or anything like that.
Dude, I know. Right before I logged on here, I broke my microphone holder.
Oh my goodness!
And so I had to scramble. I had another one, so now I have more microphones than I have holders. I'll have to figure that out.
Okay.
Oh, right. So the other thing that I want to talk about, and we are going kind of fast. We're going to Universal Studios tomorrow, and so I got a couple things on my honey-do list. And so this one will be short and sweet. But I did want to talk about my experience with an online car buying service because Jeff mentioned his experience with Carvana. I'm going to talk about our experience with Vroom, one of Carvana's competitors.
Okay.
So we bought this car, my Mustang convertible, during the pandemic. So I'm going to go on the line and say 2021. Yeah, it was probably about a year ago that we went through this process. And, we just decided we wanted a new car. Somehow I mentioned convertible. Next thing I know, Janet says, how about this one? I said, perfect. We look at it, look at all the pictures. Yep, it's good. It's great. We have to negotiate because we're going to trade in my other car, which was paid off. And then so we negotiate that price, go back and forth a couple times. They agree. We agree. We pay cash for the Mustang convertible. And they said, all right, your car's going to be delivered in 2 weeks. And so now that we had paid a hefty amount for the car, it's a 2019, and we had sold them our car. We had sent in the old title to them. So basically, we don't own the old car that's in our driveway. We're just waiting on them to come and pick it up.
Oh, really?
Yep. So they say, okay, Now we worry because it does flood here because we're on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
So we're a little worried about that. Jenna works in insurance, so that thought's always at the back of her mind. So 2 weeks go by and we hear nothing. Mm-hmm. So we start calling, start emailing, hard to get anyone on the phone. Finally, when we do, they say, well, it's not 2 weeks from when you buy it. It's 2 weeks once everything's been processed. I am sorry, but when you pay, I don't know, let's just throw a number out, $25,000 cash for a car, you sort of expect how much processing actually is there. Right? So they say it's not 2 weeks for you buy the car, it's 2 weeks for once it's been processed. And now they say it's only been processed 3 days. So it took 11 days to process this.
Oh, wow.
So they had our money, we're calling it 25,000,
mm-hmm.
for 11 days, and it took them that long to process it. Now we're waiting for another 2 weeks in order to have our car delivered.
Wow, it's a month already.
Right. They say someone will contact you, set up a schedule to pick the old car up, drop the new car off, and then we're done, right? So from that point, where it's already been 2 weeks, 2 more weeks go by. So now it is a month, and it's Sunday night, 10:30. We're in the bed, and we get a knock at the door.
Oh my gosh!
And it's a hefty knock. So I go to the door. We don't have a peephole, but I can look out and see there's a man. We've got cameras. I look on the camera. It's a man, dirty kind of clothes, working man. I'm going to say. I didn't mean that he looked dirty. I mean his clothes were dirty.
Right.
And so, he wasn't a cop. He wasn't in, a business suit, which would I trust a business suit wearing man at 10:30 at night? No. But so I poke out the window. I see him. And as I poke out my head out the window there, I said, oh my gosh, our car is on a truck out there. And Jan says, our car? I said, yeah. So I open the door. And the guy barely speaks English. And he says, I need you to sign. I said, oh, we didn't even know you were coming. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, that's not my fault. But basically, right? And that's the main words. He just needed us to sign so he could get the hell out of there. So we signed, and I said, hey, so you're going to take the other car? He goes, nope, I'm not taking the other car. I just came to drop this one off. I said, what about the other car? I don't know. I don't know nothing. I'll just pay to drop the car off.
Wow.
So that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we have, with the car comes no paperwork, no tags, no nothing. It's just the car.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So we take the plates from the old car and put it on the new car. Mm-hmm. But because that's what they were supposed to do, was transfer over, but we had no paperwork saying so. So 3 weeks go by, 3 more weeks go by of us getting our car till they actually come and get the other car. Oh, and they did not call and let us know. And they could not. Whenever we called, we would be on hold, asked to speak to a manager, somebody who knows something. Nobody knew nothing. Oh. And we were worried that, if their car got damaged on our property with a flood, that could just screw up the whole deal, right?
Right.
Yeah. So finally, one day I just had the kids here in school. I look out the window, and what do I see? A big car backing up to take it. And I said, please tell me you're from Vroom. He said, yes. I said, good. And that was it. I mean, it was a horrible experience where we did not know what was going on from one moment to the absolute next.
That's so horrible. Are they owned by Hilton? No, I'm just kidding. I have to take another shot at Hilton every episode. That is so crazy. Oh my gosh, that doesn't even sound legal. I mean, the paperwork and everything is already scary, and not having the paperwork, I should say, is already scary enough, and all that. But coming to your residence unannounced, both times, right? Sunday evening at like late 10:30, and then the other time when they went to go pick up your car, they didn't even let you know. It could have been anybody with the tow truck just coming up to pick up your car.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And, I mean, I understand you asked them, are you from Vroom? And they were like, yeah, but you could have said anything. They could have probably said, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Those kind of things scare me. I mean, because, my dad's a mechanic and all that, and he knows all this bullshit with stuff going on. But he tells me these things. But like, yeah, that is such a shitty experience. Vroom, VROOM, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
And Hilton.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. Do not use Vroom. Would not recommend. 1 star out of 5. I'd give them 0 stars if that was possible.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that so they said no damage, never been in the car, never been in an accident or whatever. Well, I noticed when I put on my polarized glasses that the quarter panel on the driver's side seemed like it was like a shade off, like I could see like a yellow tint to it. Mm-hmm. Well, over about 6 months, that got darker and darker yellow. And so I take it to first I went to my guy 10 that works on our cars. I said, who do you got that works on body stuff? And he said, oh, this guy Brian is awesome. Sunrise Auto Restoration here in I think it's Seminole, Florida is where he's at, and 5 minutes up the road. And so I went to this guy Brian. He goes, oh yeah, somebody definitely repainted here and they did a shitty job. And well, first let me back up. So I'd taken it to my wife got some recommendations on Nextdoor, that app that's like neighborhood based. Well, and it was Superior Auto Service. I go there. I wait about 45 minutes before I get everything done, and the guy quotes me at, are you ready for this? Okay. $3,450
for just what? Huh?
A painting of the quarter panel.
Okay.
And so I said, all right, well, thanks. And he didn't try to sell me on it. He didn't try and close me. And I'm like, well, that's crappy, right? Mm-hmm. He should, if he's running any kind of business, he should be saying, yeah, well, this is it. This is the best price you're going to get. Let's go ahead and get you set up for an appointment. He didn't do any of that. And I told someone that recently, and they said, yeah, they do so much insurance business that they're not hurting for business. So they don't try and push, they don't try and close anybody on the sale.
Right.
Exactly. So I said, all right. So I go to this guy, Brian. Now the other price was $3,450. Brian quotes me $850.
Mm-hmm.
So much better deal. However, we shouldn't have had to have it done anyway, but we got it from Vroom, and Vroom should have checked that junk out. And if I could now I know, right? If I look at a car with my polarized glasses on and I see that like it's a shade off, that something's been done to it, I didn't know that before. I just thought, well, it's me, my eyes, my car. Maybe it's supposed to be that way. Maybe it's just something a little different. But over time, I saw that gradually get darker and darker and darker. Mm-hmm. So Vroom should have been able to catch that too. So there we go. Screw Vroom.
Yeah, they should get some polarized glasses and look at the cars that they have in their lot or wherever the fuck they get their cars from. But they should have checked it though. I mean, yeah, you're completely correct.
A person with a trained eye probably could see it. If you're used to looking to see if there's been any body damage, you probably could have spotted that without what I had to do.
Exactly. They got probably got Stevie Wonder working there part-time inspecting cars and shit. Damn it. I'm pissed off right now. I'm sorry. It's what time is it right now? It's almost 9 a.m. and I'm already mad. On my day off. What is going on? Fuck Vroom. Jeez. That's so shitty. So, okay. It was the correct car though. I mean, the car that you saw on, I guess, the website or something.
Yes.
Was the one that was delivered to you, correct? It was just,
yes. It
okay.
Was the right one. It's just that, the people who traded it in probably didn't say, hey, this is what it's got, this is the problem, or this is what happened to it. They just turn it in to get the most money out of it. But I just think that when you check it over and you say, hey, we did a 50-point inspection. Well, you should check the paint job and make sure that it's, nothing's been done to it.
Exactly. And it also arrived with no paperwork. That's what
no paperwork. I mean, it's completely crazy. I mean,
it's fucking nuts.
It's typical Florida. We get a car that has no paperwork. Don't know how we're going to drive it. I mean, it was totally 100% Florida.
So, did you get paperwork afterwards? I don't know how this. Like, how can you? I don't know. This is so weird.
Yeah, so they eventually sent everything that we needed.
Okay, eventually, not when the car was delivered, but eventually, like several weeks later, right?
Yeah, you'd think when they sold the car, they'd put the paperwork in the car and then tell the guy, "Hey, go drop off the car."
Exactly.
But it was a huge pain. I'm glad that Jeff had a good experience with Carvana, but ours with Vroom absolutely sucked.
Okay, yeah, now I know. Oh my gosh, horrible. Oof.
Well. So I don't have a good segue, but let's talk about let's go to talk about your hometown. Tell us about where you grew up, because not last time, but like a couple episodes ago, I talked about my hometown a little bit. So yeah. Let's hear about yours.
Okay, so I grew up in a small town called Delano, California. Well, it depends on how you pronounce it. It could be Delano or Delano. It was named after Columbus Delano of the Delano family, where FDR is from. So that's where, I don't know, but I've been calling it Delano my entire life. It's a small town, 30 miles north of Bakersfield, California, in the Central Valley of California. And I keep saying California as if you don't know it's already in California. The population is about 50,000 people. It's an old railroad town. Now they're known for the table grapes that you could get at Costco. They sell them in Costco over here. I don't know about over there, but table grapes that they're known for. But their claim to fame was, Cesar Chavez. And there's the grape strike of Delano of 1965 to 1970, I think. So that was that's what put Delano on the map, so to speak. There was a strike in 1965 for the grapes, started by a Filipino named Larry Itliong, and he was a labor, what's it called, like a union guy or something like that, a labor organizer type of person for the Agricultural Workers Organization Committee, and he was fighting for workers' rights and wages, a wage increase, because they were getting paid less than, I think it was like only $1 per hour, or less than federal minimum wage was at the time in the 60s. They were getting less than actually some of the Mexican workers. So he figured that wasn't fair and organized a strike. But, excuse me. But he needed help, so he enlisted, or he asked for Cesar Chavez's help, who at the time was the National Farm Workers Association union representative or leader. And together, they both got thousands of workers, and they all left their jobs and went on strike to get better working conditions for everybody, for all the workers. And another backstory about this was, back then Filipinos came to United States to work back in the 30s in Delano. A lot of them, well, all of them worked in the fields. Now, they grew older and they didn't have any family, because at the time there was a law that prevented interracial marriages or relationships in California. Excuse me. So they couldn't get married and have kids and whatnot. So they were aging labor workers that were working in the fields. They were still getting paid shit. So they were like, you know what, enough is enough. Let's go on strike. Let's try to get some more money, some better working conditions for us. We're in our 50s, our 60s. We have nothing left. We have nothing else to lose. Let's go for it. So that's how part of the genesis of the strike happened. Anyway, Cesar Chavez came along, and a lot of his Hispanic labor workers, and they both, Filipino and Mexican labor workers, united, went on strike for 5 years, and both of them together formed the United Farm Workers of America labor union. And that changed everything. They forced the farm growers, the ones that ran the farms, to give them better wages, better working conditions, and all that stuff, and everything like that. Unfortunately, though, well, not unfortunately, but it's kind of sad that Cesar Chavez became the face of it, and the Filipinos, and especially Larry Itliong, who actually started the whole strike, is forgotten in history unless you actually delve into it and research about it. But Cesar Chavez is the face of the whole grape strike, which is fine. He was the more charismatic one. He was the one that did all the demonstrations and was on the news and everything, while Larry was more behind the scenes. But this kind of hits close to home. I mean, because I'm from Delano, but my family, when they moved to California in the United States in 1977, 78, 70, mid 70s. My entire, like, my grandparents and my uncles and my mom and my parents or whatever, they all worked in the grape fields. So although they weren't part of the strike itself, they kind of benefited from what happened after the strike with the better working conditions. They were still getting paid shit, but at the time, I mean, they weren't. It wasn't much, but they were happier. It was still hard work, long hours, but they were better working conditions. And my parents were actually, my mom told me about this. She was like happy. They were all together. They were all working together. They were all happy, spending whatever money they had on, like food and clothes and just having fun. But yeah, it kind of, I don't know, that kind of history involving my hometown means a lot to me, and I'm so proud. I'm so proud of, like, people that are willing to stand up for themselves and stand up to for other people against, like, fighting for what they believe they should have. And I don't know, I respect that a lot. I respect people like Cesar Chavez and Larry Itliong and stuff like that. They don't really tell you in school. They don't, it's part of history. It's part of, like, it changed. I mean, it's not like world history or something like dramatic like that in U.S. history, but it's part of history. It's part of California history, and it's part of the history of, like, farm workers and everything like that. People that you don't necessarily care for or think about when you're buying your produce in the supermarket. Like, these were picked by hardworking people that get paid shit, and sometimes their working conditions suck. So, it's important to actually just be grateful for that. They're doing work that a lot of us wouldn't want to do. And ironically, Cesar Chavez was also in San Jose. I lived in San Jose, and he lived here for a while. His house is actually down the street from where I live right now, and it's a city landmark, and it's just a regular house. I think his brother still owns it, so they live there. But there's a little plaque on the front of the house, in front of the lawn, that says Cesar Chavez lived from in this house from this date to this date, and he was actually starting his like the labor strike. It was his beginnings of that was actually thought of in that household. So that was pretty interesting, that I thought. And it ties in Delano and San Jose, my two hometowns, together. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, I would like to kind of plug this little 30-minute documentary, I should say. I'm sorry. It's a short documentary, about 30 minutes. It's called Delano Manongs. Manongs is the Tagalog word for brothers, and it's on PBS. So Delano Manongs, it's about 30 minutes long, and it's the history of Filipinos in Delano and the grape strike. And it talks about how they were in the 30s and the anti it's the law where they can't marry or have relations with someone outside of their race and all that stuff. It's pretty interesting. It's only 30 minutes, so it's a little bit of history that not many people know about, and I don't know. I think it's cool. So if you have time, Delano Manongs on PBS, check it out. So yeah, but that's a little bit of my little hometown. I go back every once in a while to visit my family there. They still live there, and it's growing. It's getting a little bit bigger. They're getting, more stuff. They finally got like a Costco or something in a Walmart, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's still a little town and everything like that. It's pretty cool. It's fun. It's fun over there. Well, no, okay, it's not fun over there. It's kind of boring. But there's my cousins are there, so they make it fun. Okay, that's
all right. So it's Monongs. It's
Manong, yeah.
Manongs.
Yes, Delano Manongs. Yep, that's the little documentary or something. It was part of a docuseries called Viewfinder on PBS, and it's season 19, episode 6. So if you want to check that one out. And then now, as you know, I live in San Jose, heart of the Silicon Valley, very expensive homes. I think it's like the fifth, or it's like the most expensive housing in the United States and fifth in the world in terms of expensive housing is concerned. That's freaking crazy.
I thought you were born in East LA.
No, that's What was that? Jamie Ward?
Yeah,
telling you that it.
So I thought you were Mexican.
I was Mexican American.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people think I'm Mexican or a small Samoan, which I don't understand. One guy thought I was black, which was pretty cool. But and I just remember you telling me before Jamie Ward said I sounded like Cheech Marin.
Yeah, Cheech Marin. Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh, well, hilarious.
It's because you kept saying, "Don't you know I'm loco, ese?"
What? Oh my gosh. Fun times. But yeah, that's Delano for you.
Oh boy.
I'm just trying to remember everything that I was trying to say last week. So I kind of went through that pretty quickly. Yeah, so where are we going to go now with this conversation?
Well, right now we're going to take it over to a conversation I had with Jeff the scientist, and then we'll come back and talk a little celebrity. So here's a little introduction to Jeff. I think we probably talk about it, but I've known him since, I don't know, 96, 97-ish. And he's a good guy. He's, I think, 8 or 9 years younger than me. And he had the privilege of being in high school and going and traveling around a couple guys doing some indie dates. So he puts me over a little bit. So I did not have to pay him for any of those kind words that you're going to hear him give me. But here is Jeff and I talking, and I'm sure it's going to be heavily edited because during the podcast, our talk, his daughter runs in and has to show us magic tricks.
Oh, I love magic tricks.
Yeah, so I've talked about it before. We had dinner with him and his family at gosh, what's the place in Vegas that we ate? Somebody help me out. It was a fried chicken place inside the Venetian.
Oh, it's fuck, I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm typing Venetian Las Vegas chicken place. Yardbird.
There we Yardbird. Go. There you go. Yardbird. Hey, we have a Yardbird here.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had there, and his spontaneously his youngest daughter, who I think is like 4. Mm-hmm. I think no, she was 3. So she might be 4 now, but she was 3. Starts doing magic tricks for my wife, who was sitting across the table. Yeah.
What kind of magic tricks? I love. Okay, I'm sorry, but I love magic tricks, and the fact that a 3-year-old is doing it is so freaking awesome. I hope she practices magic. it's just such. I know, it's all tricks and everything, but I like to think. I like to suspend my my disbelief and everything like that. It's like wrestling, we all know magic is fake. It's just sleight of hand and smoke and mirrors, much like how wrestling is. But if you really enjoy that kind of thing, you will just get into it so much, and you will forget that if it's really good magic, if it's really good wrestling, you'll forget that it's choreographed or quote unquote fake. And you'll get lost into it. I'm like that with magic tricks. I tried to do magic when I was in high school, like some little sleight of hand tricks. I'm not really good at it, but I love watching it on TV. I love watching it whenever it's on the internet or on TV. I would just stop everything and watch it. And yeah, I know most of the tricks already and how it's done, but it's still amazing to me.
Well, maybe I'll clip out the video and post it in the group.
Okay.
Cool. So here goes Jeff the scientist.
Hey, so everyone, if you've just joined me, this is my buddy Jeff the scientist here. Jeff, we're going to not play this as video. It'll just be audio. So feel free to make faces and whatever, but we'll do the video since you're in Las Vegas.
Correct. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And so we've got about 2,100 people in our Facebook group. Jeff does not have Facebook. His wife does. And so if I need to tell him something, sometimes I'll tell her, hey, ask him about this or whatever. And of course, I'll text him too. But sometimes it's more fun to get the wives in on the old wrestling humor. And then
I was going to say it's totally inefficient, by the way, which is not usually how I roll, but
well, yeah, but then you have to explain something that might be awkward, which is sort of the rib. So I thought it'd be really cool to have you on and talk to you about your experience in wrestling, and that you're sort of a success story. Not that you were the WWE champion or anything, but that you did get out of wrestling and go on to be successful and be somewhat normal.
Gotcha.
And that's a compliment.
Well, thank you.
So why don't you just start off by telling us about, I don't know, let's start back at how you first got into wrestling.
Right. Oh, no, that's a great question. So me and a mutual friend, Bradley, were childhood friend growing up, always watched wrestling, and we were very smart. We were smart. I guess we were the smart marks at 14. I mean, we knew it was a work.
So what year would that have been though?
Oh man, that was 26 years ago. So quite a trek there, almost 3 decades. But we grew up watching a lot of the NWA. That's how we kind of bonded. A lot. We would watch wrestling together, and he had an aunt who worked with actually your cousin, Bobby, who was running promotions out of Virginia or in W, right?
Yeah, VC Dub.
And so that's we created two parallel paths. Actually, that was one path because we knew we wanted to try this thing out, but even prior to that, there was another group. And I wanted to say this, stepping outside of the conversation. We had a lot of wrestling promotions where we were from.
Yeah, you know why? Because no one wanted to lose. No one wanted to put anybody over. So they're like, oh, I have to lose. Well, I'm going to start my own group.
Their life was a work, brother.
Yeah, exactly. So 26 years ago, that would be 1996.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was the internet, because I was wondering how these guys get smart. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, we did. Bradley was more into it a little bit, especially at the beginning, in terms of having access to the internet, using it frequently, and I was kind of just like in terms of he would collect these tapes and stuff, and we would watch some of the Japan matches and things like that, and be very intrigued by it. Like I said, we figured it out. It was a work. We would play wrestle, if you will, like all kids would do.
Yeah, but you weren't kids. You were 14, 15.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you were six, 3 or 4 at the time, 250 pounds.
Right. Yeah. I was a big kid. Kid at heart. But yeah. So we would set up like, not mattresses, but I mean, Lord, we couldn't afford the mattresses. We would just put like blankets out in the front yard or backyard of his house, and we would practice our moves. I mean, we knew what we were doing. We could, we didn't know how to get someone in a headlock properly, but we could suplex each other.
Right. Yeah.
So we definitely developed as spot monkeys for sure at the first.
Yeah. So there's the tape that come out of Mick Foley doing something similar and jumping off of this, but
house. Yeah.
You guys were sort of like redneck Mick Foleys.
Yeah. Yep. Dollar store McFoley. Yep, that's for us. But I'm surprised we didn't kill ourselves, man. It's interesting. Especially his parents, actually, they were okay with it. They were like, "Oh, them boys are just downstairs wrestling." It's like we're starting our own fight club in the basement of his house. And so we kept on kind of just being interested in it, and and we both played like baseball. I played football, for a few years, and was just never like really into team sports, and so I always kind of like the personal best. And his Bradley's aunt, like I said, worked with your cousin there, and he ran a promotion, and I think she asked on our behalf if we could come and just get in the ring and kind of try out. I think, and I remember getting into the ring and your cousin Bobby potatoing me in the head. I was, and I remember hitting the ropes a couple of times, and I don't know if your listeners are aware of some of the methods of rope. You have cable with water hose surrounding it, or you have ropes like the WWE where it's like the real ropes with tape. So we had the experience of hitting and running the cables, if you will, and I remember hitting the cable for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real, this is not fake.
Yeah.
But you get used to it after so long.
Yeah. It's like you get calluses on your back or something.
Yeah,
it's like you stop getting bruised.
Yeah. And if you're ready, a lot of times you'll run into your side or something. But anywho, and it was interesting because I remember Bobby was wanting to. He asked us, "You guys want a match today?" I'm like, I don't think we're ready for that.
So was this before you guys did the tape?
Are you talking about the tape for that we sent into AIWF? Yeah. So this was actually this was after that. So there was another local promotion going back to multiple.
So it was after the tape.
Yes, this was after the tape. Yeah.
Well, go back to the tape.
Okay, so the tape. So me and Bradley were doing these things in the yard, and we thought we were cool, and being able to do like finishers and stuff, and we recorded this tape that apparently became legend after the fact. I'll explain that a little bit in the future. But so we did this tape of us just kind of, working our matches. We had like 2 or 3 different things or whatever. And I can't even remember what our names were, because of course you have to have characters and names, but no ring or anything. And
that's way more important than knowing how to do it, right?
Right, exactly. You got to get your character down first. So anywho, we sent this tape into, there was a local, one of the promotions, AIWF, Rick Diesel and Brian Danzig would do a weekly call-in show where they would, kind of answer questions and they would, kind of recap, what their promotion had been doing that week. So I sent in the tape to them, and we never heard anything back from them. And I remember watching them because they were filming it in Stewart, Virginia or something. And I called in, and, I was like, hey, just wanted to find out how I could become a wrestler, because we were kind of enthralled by this, culture, and I told him, I'm like, well, I'm 6'5", 250 pounds, and I'm like 16 years old. They're like, what? Play football. I said, no, man, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a independent wrestler. So anyhow, and then they kind of laughed it off a little bit, and I kind of took offense to that. And then,
well, they made a bunch of jokes, and they were like kids in the basement and shit like that. I remember that part. Yeah.
They were like, making jokes about this, 2 kids in the basement, and apparently the tape circled around their locker room. There was kind of like a joke, so
it circled around the locker room like the rats did.
Yeah, exactly. both literally and figuratively. We were all in a lot of dumps a lot of the times, but anyhow, so it was really Bobby, and that's where we met you, Frankie, and that's kind of how it started. I believe that you worked. Was it Ricky? I think it was Ricky Morton that night, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember also. I don't know. Do you remember Bad Boy Buck?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we walked back in the back. That first time in the ring, we walked back there, and he was like, "What was it, kayfabe? There's marks here." Or something.
Yeah.
But we knew the jargon. I mean, we knew the language, so we understood what he was saying, and we just kind of went along with it.
But did I tell you about meeting Ricky Morton at the Legends Fan Fest?
Oh, is that the one where he asked you to sign a picture or something? Or I asked if you wanted to sign a picture.
Yeah. And I tried to say to him, hey, we worked. I mean, we probably were on a half dozen shows, right? Mm-hmm. And then
you did the same match 6 times at least.
Yeah. And he's like, like kayfabe me, like, because here's what I think. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that he just was getting set up, and this guy in front of me goes up to him and buys $100 worth of stuff. So he thinks all day long he's gonna be sitting here at this thing selling $100. And we got there early because Jerry Jarrett was going to have these books. Well, they'd already sold out by the time we got there. And so that's why we were there early, or else I would have let everybody get like in their rhythm. You know what I mean? It takes a minute, when you get there to get into where you can talk. And the CWF Legends Fan Fest is not like your usual stuff. Like, you have time to stand and talk. It's not like a rush. Okay, here's your picture, here's your autograph, get out of here. You stand around, you BS with these folks, right? So I said to Ricky, hey, we worked together on some shows. Yeah. And he said, oh yeah, with who? I said, Bobby Secrets used to hire you all the time. And he's like, Bobby's dead. No shit, he's my cousin. You think I don't know he's dead? And that was, it was just like, what the? And my wife, and he's like, oh, you want a picture? And Rob's like, oh yeah, let's take a picture. We'll take a picture. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like, and the stories I could tell about Ricky, right?
Right, yeah.
Was that before or after? Oh no, that was just in November, so I haven't seen you. Oh yeah, we did. I saw you in Vegas in December, so yeah, I probably told you. Yeah, so there's a lot of stories I could probably tell about that wouldn't make him look good, but I mean, dang, you got to make me look like some mark. It's like, and here's the other fun thing. So I have a bunch of pictures from back in the day. You know, I always used to take pictures, right? I always had my camera. And so I looked in one of my drawers here at the house, and I had pictures of me and Buddy Landell, me and Ricky Morton, Bill Eadie, Boogie. And so I have them here. I thought they were up in storage, or else I would have taken them with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I should have gotten, I would have gotten, Ricky to sign it then. But, he was just like, he was in working mode, and he was, but anyway, it kind of pissed me off because I wanted to tell him some things about that match that I learned that night, what I was looking at in the conversation and say, hey, looking back on it, here's what we did, here's what happened and blah, blah, blah. But he just was not having it. He was trying to sell a t-shirt, he's sort of like Boogie, every time you see Boogie, he's like, oh, Hollywood, how you doing, brother? Want to buy a t-shirt? He's like, same answer as last time I saw you. No.
Right. Well, you know what they say? They say never beat your heroes. I mean,
man. that could be the truth, but at the Legends Fan Fest, I mean, and I'll say Ricky Morton was cool, told a lot of good stories. Robert was hilarious. There's things I'll tell you off the air that was just amazing. And Jana had a great time there too. And then everybody else was personable, nice talk, good conversations, but Ricky just tried to kayfabe me and not like have a conversation because he thought he was going to sell $100 worth every time somebody walked up to him.
Right.
Yeah, all right. So the other thing about that is you mentioned Bad Boy Buck. Well, I was listening to someone else on another podcast, and so Bobby and I went up to one of Buck's shows a couple times actually, and there was a wrestler that was there who I thought was not good, did not look good. He might have been a good worker, but he wasn't a good wrestler. Was not in shape like 98% of the people that worked around us. And I heard him talking about what a mark Buck was without saying Buck's name. He was talking about this midget Mark. He didn't mean a midget named Mark. So, and I was like, and it reminds me of the AIF guys, right? Like they shouldn't have got on there and made these jokes about you. Right. They should have gone there and they should have been flattered. Right. And it's like this guy, if he was a mark, and his dad, Buck's dad did do some promoting and whatever. They should have been flattered that they got the work and got paid for it. You know what I mean? So regardless if the person is a mark or what, you don't have to, if people use the term mark, like, oh, it's an insult, like, oh, you're a dumb jabroni, and they really shouldn't. And so this guy is not, and I'll just say, I'm just not a big fan of his just because I heard him shitting on this person and calling him a mark. And I just think that, that's not cool. And it doesn't make you seem like, you are above them, which a lot of people would always use, hey, there's marks here. Look at the marks or the Mizarks or whatever. Right. And I mean, that's kind of where we'll get to at the end of your story, right? Because you look at probably 99.9% of the people that you worked with in that organization are probably still there in that town, which is, continue to go to shit, right?
Yeah, no, I can pretty much guarantee that if they're still alive, right? I mean, this is quite a long time ago, but it's with the video being there and kind of being made fun of or whatever. But I'm telling you, man, it was the best lawn chair shot ever. Videotape. There was a lawn chair. There was. I mean,
so it was a lawn chair with like the fabric plastic around the back, right? Yeah. Yep. Because who has the big metal chairs in their basement, especially as a kid, right?
Yeah, exactly. We just grabbed whatever we could, and just made it work.
Made it work, right? Yeah, family brings the weapons.
Right. Exactly.
Whatever grandma left down there last time she had her little party.
Right. Yeah.
So you were 16,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. 16.
And so how did you actually end up working?
So let's see. We worked for, I think we, like I said, it was a little tough once we actually got in the ring and everything. We were, just new to it. We had, no experience. And, to be honest with you, I mean, after being in the ring one time, I wanted to quit just because I was like, wow, tough. This isn't like what you're seeing on TV, or it's not what you envision, right? It's not like what you were envisioning while you're, pummeling your best friend in the basement with a lawn chair.
well, yeah, because you've got the crowd noise in your head,
Right.
You've got everybody popping, like,
right.
Oh yeah, like they think I'm so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember, I want to say that's when you ended up actually, I don't know if we ever wrestled for Bobby as a start off. I think our first match was actually with YWA. I think we watched you a couple of times. That's when we started hanging out.
So I just watched the video. Jen and I went up to North Carolina, and some friends there. I kayfabe the whole wrestling thing for years and years and years, and never.
See, I embraced it.
Oh, not me. Since probably like 2003, I just shut it off, shut it down, didn't talk about it. It was not a part of my life, and in let me think of what year it probably was, 2014, 2013, somewhere around there. I thought of, because I didn't have any pictures that not any pictures with me. I think my pictures were at my mom's or somewhere, but or not scanned. So I remember this website where I could go and find some pictures of me. Well, this guy that I worked with when I worked for Jana looked over my shoulder and saw the website, saw how I went there, and got some pictures of me. And then they plastered them up all over my workplace.
Oh,
yeah. So
you got bullied.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was the picture of, I don't know if you remember seeing it, but it was a picture of me, Strawberry, and Brandy Collins, Brandy Wine, together, and I have my arm around both of them. You remember Strawberry, right?
Yeah.
Huge boobs. And so the three of us are standing there, and they had these pictures of us all over the place. And so I let it go on for a little bit, and then finally I told Jana, I was like, hey, look, we got to take this down, and I said, it's just making me uncomfortable, because people come in and see it and want to know, and it's not something that I was comfortable talking about all the time. So I put that back in the closet. And then somehow recently, the GIF popped up, of me ripping my pants off.
Oh, yeah, you showed me that when you were
in
US.
Yeah, and so one of my friends saw that, and they all kind of went crazy, like, we've got to see videos. So when we went back up there, I took one of my videos and we sort of watched it, and I had the remote. I said, hey, look, here's some rules. We're going to do this. I got to have the remote. I got to have control, and so I showed some videos. I explained what was going on. And I fast forward through it. We talked, had a couple drinks, and then boom, it was done. I took the DVD, put it back in the box, and I was out of there, So I sort of kept all that locked up. And just recently have I been able to talk about what I was doing, who I was, whatever. And I mentioned on the podcast to some of the guys in the group, they're like, oh, well, that's cool. But, it wasn't a big deal. It was like a small part of my life. And I don't want to let like something that was that small define who I was. Right.
Right. No, I mean, it's kind of interesting. So you have that perspective. I have a different perspective. I think wrestling actually brought out a better person of me. That's kind of what we were discussing before, you asked me to do this. And, because I grew up like a shy kid, I was overweight, didn't have a lot of confidence. I grew up poor, single parent household, raised by my mom, and so wrestling was kind of an outlet, I think. And then with me actually kind of getting to shine a little bit, if you would, or will, that actually brought out a different person. I think that one that's more confident, and and so I've actually, if people, I I've never really cared what people think. Especially now. So it's, I don't mind sharing my videos or whatever. I mean, of course I get show me your wrestling videos, Jeff, or whatever, but it's never been an issue like that for me.
Who said that? Your in-laws?
Yeah, or my brother-in-laws. We always rag on each other and stuff. So, but I don't mind. I'll be happy to show them. Like, here, you go to YouTube. You can go. I pull them out if you want to. I'll put the masks on. What do you want me to do? At 40 years old, I have no problem. Because it's but yeah, like you said, it's certainly it was a small fraction of our lives, but it was something that didn't necessarily define me, but I think it did make me the person I am today. I'm certainly a lot more confident than I was.
Well, I think it had a negative effect on me, and that's why I sort of pushed it away and want to keep it away, because it was it's something that, still I regret that I did it. I think that there was probably better uses of my time. I mean, a lot of people would say that, I'm sure, but it was yeah. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like with me, I'm a type of person. It's like if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that was something I wanted to do. I wanted to try it. I mean, I've tried Tough Man. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'm not a boxer or anything, but I'll try it. I'll try a lot of things, just to say I've done it. But
so where did you do that?
It was for Bobby Fulton over at the Mount Airy Armory. It was funny because I go there, Tough Man, and I would say 50% of the people that were running it were wrestlers. Donnie, remember Donnie Dollar?
Oh, yeah.
He was the ref. I'm like, is this legit? Is this legit? But they had the.
Wait a minute, Donnie Dollar, was that the North Surrey kid?
I can't
Blonde
remember.
hair, wore glasses, short, stocky.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but he was. I think he wrestled for YWA. But you had Bobby Fulton there. Cyclone from AIWF was there. These guys that are known. We know that they're workers, local workers, but they're fighting in Tough Man. That's supposed to be legit.
So was my cousin Kevin there?
Kevin, I don't know. I don't know if he was.
He used to do that a lot.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I saw him on that one. Because what they do is they pair you in by weight.
Yep. So he was like 130 or.
Yeah, so he wouldn't even been nowhere near me.
Yeah. He had been about to your kneecaps.
Yeah, right. right. But yeah, no, it's interesting though. So going back to the having the first match, we worked out in the ring. I remember in Yakinville, just kind of going over the moves, right? I mean, you were the first one to actually take us kind of into your wing and kind of show us, how to work, and do some things, from headlocks and stuff like that.
I've broken a lot of things: hearts, hymens, kayfabe. I mean,
the law. No.
The law. Yeah.
No, but it was interesting. I mean, I think our first match I think I was either 16 or 17 years old wrestling. I think my first match was wrestling another guy who was green. That was was it the Crow or something? Or I might have been at Battle.
Oh yeah, that guy was horrible. But I mean, and what's crazy is you got a guy who's like 6'5", and it's like you want to job him out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, see, I didn't know any better. I was just there for the experience.
I know, but neither did anybody else. Right. It's like. What would make sense is you got a guy, you use him for something because he's a lot bigger than everybody else. Even if he can't do anything, you make him do something small, a boot, a power bomb, and it's in, right? Or choke slam or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Just do it, quick and squash match.
But it's like that promoter's always looking for someone he can put his boys over, so his boys won't complain about getting jobbed.
Have you mentioned anything about the hot dog spot, right?
No,
this hot dog spot.
no, I've never talked to you really anything about wrestling. I've mentioned that I was a worker a little bit, but let's go back. So
okay, sure.
you and I, how did we end up going and traveling with Michael Bakikio?
So it was just really, I think you guys had met independently, and you and I kind of connected, quite a bit because my buddy Bradley, who started out with me, he blossomed a little bit sooner than I did. So he was after the girls, so he fell in love, and he kind of got out of wrestling. And we kind of weren't as close either. So actually, I got pretty close to you, as a friend and wrestling buddy.
Oh, but not literally.
Yeah, no, not literally. Yeah, I mean, I was 17, 18.
Yeah, we got one year 18. Come on.
Right. Nothing like that. But no, and then so I would just, like I said, you kind of took me under your wing, and we would just drive up and down the road, and I think you almost kind of a lot of the matches you got booked on, you would just bring me with you, and working for the YWA people there, Eldon and Ron when he had his shows and stuff. But I mean, we would go up to West Virginia, work for, was it the Doctor?
Yeah,
who was running shows. Yeah, Jeff. So we were, do you remember? I don't know if you remember. This is a story. We were coming back one day from a show in West Virginia, and I think we wrestled at the Apple Butter Festival.
Yep.
And there was it was a big crowd. I mean, it was definitely a couple hundred people there, from what I remember.
Yeah, they were all hanging from the rafters.
Yeah, it was actually they're right. They filled that bingo hall like you wouldn't believe. But so I think after that show, and this was what, in Chapmanville, West Virginia, or somewhere up there.
Yeah, Logan, one of those two. Yeah,
it's about 4-hour drive, right? So I remember you're driving your car. You had a Celica, I believe. Yep. And first you got a speeding ticket. You got pulled over. Wait, no. Wait, first we were driving. This is dark, after the show, because we stayed until the end. You hit a mattress in the middle of the highway. Box spring, yeah, box spring, and then we got into and that was in West Virginia. Then you got to go through Virginia, so you drove to Virginia, and then sure enough, you got clocked with a radar detector, and it's illegal in Virginia. That was like the worst night ever. Man.
Yeah, you know why I hit the box spring? It's because I had cloudy contact lenses on that I couldn't even see, I thought it was a piece of cardboard in the road. But luckily, I hit this thing with this Celica, tears the whole bottom underneath it, breaks the front end of it, but we keep going. And remember, those people followed us up there to watch the show, and they were behind us.
Right.
And so we go down the road a little bit, and thank goodness the people that the box spring fell off had stopped on the side of the road. And so I pulled behind them and says, "Hey, that thing fell off and hit my car." And then like a trooper or something came, and we got the information, and they ended up paying to have my car fixed.
Well, that's good. I mean, so you got to keep your 20, $50 that you got from the show. until
you mean until I got on down and got the ticket for having a radar detector.
It was like the worst night ever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not the worst, but yeah, it was top 10. No.
Well, I mean, it was like it was something new to me, right? I mean,
getting pulled over, running over mattresses. It's like, why didn't this dude see this mattress on the road? I mean, box spring on the road. It's like, well, my contacts are so fuzzy because I didn't change them and didn't, probably hadn't been to the eye doctor in years.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had a couple instances like that in, wrestling, where my car wouldn't start. I would I remember at one of the shows, because I just got like a Bronco or something. It was one of these. It was a used car, and it was older. And I remember going to start, and wouldn't start, and I was like, "Dear Lord, please just let it start to get home." Because it's like you're out in the middle of nowhere, wherever you're wrestling at, and it's like, 1:00 in the morning, the automatic assumption is that you're up to no good. Sometimes we were, and sometimes we weren't.
Yeah. I think most of the time we were like, behaved and not up to a whole lot. I mean, usually we would do the show and go have something to eat.
Right.
And then
the Waffle House or the Applebee's
or the truck stop.
Yeah.
So cool. So I remember Michael and I we went somewhere, I want to say in Tennessee. Do you remember that? And you had the runs.
Was it me? That was it. I don't know if that was me.
Yeah, it was you. It was definitely you.
Oh, and I don't think I went to Tennessee with you guys. I went to West.
Well, it may have been West Virginia with us then. And you, but it wasn't that same show. It was a different show.
Mm-hmm. We went up there a couple of times. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was with Michael, and then we went and we did the show in Wilson with Mick Foley.
Yep, but I wasn't booked on that show. I was just outside working the table.
But yeah, what did you do at the table though?
So I always grew up drawing. So like I would sit outside and work the table, and draw like pictures. And I remember I was just passing the time, right? And then some little kid came and saw this picture, and then I think it was like Kane, or it might have been Mick Foley or somebody, just somebody, whoever I could draw. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, it's $5, kid. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I think it was like $3 or something like that. And kids the entire night come to me and ask me to do pictures. And I think I got enough money to at least pay for my dinner that night.
Wow, we didn't pay for your dinners? Man, dang.
Not all the time. I think every once in a while you hit me, you hook me up. I mean, I wasn't getting paid for anything else.
Yeah, I'd give you the hot dogs that I got there at the show, huh? The one they tried to pay me with. What year did you go to Wilmington?
It was 2001, 2002, something like that. Yeah.
And what year did you graduate?
2005. So it's probably 2002 when I went.
Okay, so I moved there at the end of 2005.
Yep.
So you left like what?
I left. It was it May? I think it was May, because I moved out to Vegas like right after.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had met the woman that would be your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was May, and I moved at the end of 2005.
Right. So
we just missed each other.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about AIWF or anything like that, because we kind of had a little. Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure. So you got a little working experience, and you start working for the company that had made light of you.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting. They were going to bring me in and put the belt on me, which was kind of something that was like, unexpected, like a bittersweet, sort of thing. They ended up making fun of me, and they're going to try to give me the title. But I think there was some politics or something there, so I never actually got the belt. We did get the tag titles at one time.
Yeah, well, there's always those politics of,
right.
Hey man, I've been with you since whatever. People always want the belts.
Right. But I mean, I was like, it's interesting because like in our area, I was probably like the biggest guy working, like as far as like height and what I could do and things like that.
Yeah. So when we were in Wilmington, I watched the match that you and I had, and it was like almost flawless. I mean, it was a really good match. I mean, it was good.
Right.
I mean, because you were an agile big man, and you moved around, and you didn't take a whole lot of bumps, and we set you up right.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the mask was more important to you because you were this big guy, but you have this baby face. So, and it's like, your character was sort of a killer, but you're a killer with a baby face.
Right.
Which, if you look at like, I don't know, Karrion Kross,
mm-hmm.
He's very similar. He's a big guy. They probably don't work him as a big guy, but he's a big guy that's a good looking big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a killer, right? He's an aggressive big guy. But when you're, 17, 18 years old, it's like, and it shows on your face,
right.
Can't grow facial hair like you got now.
No, I had a beard. I had a goatee though. I did have a pretty good goatee, I thought. No, it's funny.
But the painkiller mask I thought was tremendous. But you're like, no, I don't want to wear a mask.
No, yeah, I never was a fan of the mask. But it's funny though when I worked in the other organization AIWF, I think you had gone down to Chapel Hill to pursue college, and that's kind of when you kind of got out of it. I think you were kind of
yep. So like 2001 to 2000, I had my last match I think at the beginning of 2003, and but 2000. So I started 99, and then didn't work a whole lot. Didn't work a whole lot in 2000. You know, match here, a match there, and then I had this match in 2003 at the beginning, I think, and it was in Sharpsburg, North Carolina, and my opponent, I'll never forget the name, Vinny Vane. And this is the moment that I decided to hang it up. So WCW had already folded. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to the WWE because I'm not big enough. Right. And so my options are running out of places for me to actually be able to work. Right. So I go to Sharpsburg, and I want to say from Chapel Hill, it was a couple hours by myself. So of course, you know, that ride is never fun.
Right.
And I go in the locker room, and the person that I thought had booked me has nothing to do with the show that I thought that they did. I mean, I don't know. It was really a weird dynamic. And the guys that were in there, they were calling it NWA something, you know, because you remember during that time, like everybody's trying to jump on an NWA franchise.
Right.
And so these guys tell me, okay, we got Vinny Vane going over clean with you. And I'm like, who the hell is Vinny Vane? You know, and he was shorter, pudgy, didn't have boots, tights, gear, nothing that looked like anything. He looked like Matt Hardy if you ordered him off Wish. I mean, I'm serious. And actually, I think that he used to go to the church that I went to in Wilmington. I think it was the same guy, but I never got up during worship to go, hey, excuse me, are you Vinny Vane? But anyway, the match was okay. Right. The part that sucked was, so not that I lost, but so I put him over clean, and he did a move that was sort of like a gourd buster or a jackhammer, something. It was some suplex like maneuver of Vince McMahon, and he we got back to the back, and he's like, oh man, that was so good. You see what I did? When I was holding you up, I pointed at the camera and then I hit you with it. And I was like,
wow.
Like I just drove 2 hours, made $20. I could have been at college, you know, doing who knows what. And, and I got to, you know, be here with this schmuck, you know, like telling me this, you know, marking out for himself because he's got his girlfriend out there recording. And you know, I just was like, that's it, I'm done. And that was the last match, and I realized it.
Well, like with me, it's my last match. I was still in college too. I kind of had fallen out of it, you know, in college, and you know, kind of knew that this wasn't, you know, and we're thinking, you know, more down the line of doing things. But I did wrestle a few times for ICW and I think it was UNPWA, Mark Ash's promotion, and Don Brower. You know, it's, you know, one of these, you know, I think he ended up buying the promotion or something. I don't know, but you know, so I worked down there a couple of times, which is kind of interesting because, you know, Doc Gallows came through there before he was, you know, who we know him today. And a lot of these guys, you know, even when I was with AIWF, I was working with, you know, Corey Etzel, who was, you know, working, you know, we always do like the 6 degrees of separation or whatever, but like Adam Page was a guy who worked for AIWF, just missed him by a few years. So who, you know, it's always kind of nice to kind of think, well, you know, what if something changed, you know, what if that was, you know, me, just the right place, right time.
Do you remember Doc Gallows coming through?
Yeah, he was because we're about the same age, him and I.
Yeah.
He came through. I think it was for UNPWA, UPWA in Wilmington.
So he talked about it. He talked about working in West Virginia because he was from somewhere up there,
right?
And he was in college. And do you remember Danny Ray?
The name sounds familiar.
So he, if you saw a picture, you'd recognize him. He wore glasses. He wore the single strap, the Tarzan strap, one strap,
right.
And he lived up there with those guys. And Doc Gallows told a story on his podcast, Talking Shop, about getting into the business. And he said that when he walked into the building and he shook a guy's hand, he didn't shake the hand with the kayfabe handshake, right?
Oh.
And the guy goes, "Oh my gosh, kayfabe is dead."
Yeah,
I didn't. And it was Danny Ray, but Danny Ray was just ribbing, But Doc Gallows just didn't get it, And I get that, right? Like a new guy walking through the dressing room, and it was like his first or second match, and then he talked about going to Wilmington and working.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he worked down there for sure. Also, I mean, there's connections. I mean, with like I said, Adam Page. Adam Page worked for AIWF. I mean, he was kind of skinny because he's from Christiansburg, Blacksburg, Virginia, or near that area, I believe. Because I think he worked with Boogie. Even
I think he worked with High Spots too.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like he actually worked for Michael, I think.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah. Well, Corey worked for a lot of those promotions there in around that area.
Yeah, where's he at now?
I haven't. Time I spoke with him was years ago when I was back when we were still wrestling. But he seemed to be getting his name out there. He was very talented though. I mean, you could tell his ability to work and get the business because he was younger than us when he started. Because I remember talking to him, he was like 16. He reminded me, I was already a veteran, it seemed like, and I was still green myself. And I remember talking to him, and he was, I'm like 15 or 16, but he was just a big kid, And it's kind of cool to see that he has at least all those connections and those memories and things.
Yeah, looks like he might still be working.
Yeah, he might be. I know he
American Lucha Wrestling.
Corey Etzel.
July 10th, 2021. So Mark Ash. I saw him somewhere. I think he may have been a flea market or the pawn shop he was working at. And I'm not cracking on the guy, but he did have a gimmick booth at the flea market. And
well, no, he used to do videos. He was when I met him, because we kind of connected a little bit because I knew you guys knew each other and a little bit. So. But he was a pharmacy tech. He worked at the hospital as a pharmacy tech during the day, and then he ended up going to do it was like a prison guard or something down in Wilmington.
Yeah. So he said to me one time that I saw him, he goes, "Hey man, you got any of your old videos?" And I go, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, I'll put them on DVDs for you." Well, you know what that means, right?
No, he's gonna take them.
Yeah, he was gonna take them. I was like, "Oh, cool, man. Yeah, I might do that. I'll let you know."
Yeah. But he was always nice to me. I can't say anything. He was always cool to me. I worked him main event.
Well, I could say I could shoot a little bit. So I wanted the Jim Cornette tapes that he had the lost Mid-Atlantic tapes. I don't know if you ever heard him talk about it. He says that someone found them in a dumpster and he got them and he's got them and he sells them now. And they're like really old stuff. So I wanted them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them on like a Facebook marketplace or something, bought them, and they were copies, and they came from Mark Ash, and I knew because it had his address, his name, and like he didn't even recognize my name enough to go, "Hey, thanks," or whatever. And I don't care about that part, but they were copies. They weren't actually.
It's my little girl coming in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She learned a new magic trick.
Yeah, she can make her eyes this big.
Oh, she can levitate you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's Louisa.
Yeah. So he was trying to get one over on me because we know he would have been selling those. And I saw he had like a Mean Mark Ash network on the Roku, and I'm not gonna rip on him, but I'll just say that he was trying to get my videos. Trust me, if I know anybody in the wrestling business, they say, "Hey, I'm just gonna make a copy of these and put them on there for you for free," that means that they're going to sell you stuff, and I don't want videos of whatever that I have of me out there.
Well, I was gonna say he was nice to me. I mean, he was pretty nice to me. He had made copies of our matches and gave them to me for.
But he also put them on YouTube, and he also
sure.
yeah, and he had his network, and he put them on there, and that's the thing that I didn't want. I don't want, if anybody Googles my name, to find that. I mean, they can find my arrest report, but just not a video of me wrestling.
Man. But it was interesting because, I mean, we would get, it's like I said, once going back to the opposite, like at the time, I was fine with it. I'm still fine with it. But, I got interviewed by papers. I mean, I was on the Winston-Salem Journal, paper. I got like a little cutout of me or whatever in the paper. We were on being interviewed by a reporter in Wilmington, and it's kind of interesting. I guess I kind of liked it at the time.
So what made you stop?
Well, like I said, I mean, I realized I'm getting older, and it was interesting. Like I met my wife, and we just kind of hit it off, and I was wanting to build a future with her, and ended up moving out to Las Vegas. And that was it. I mean, it was kind of like enough. I mean, she knew I wrestled. Like when we met, I was wrestling, and she knew I was wrestling, but I don't think she ever saw my match live or anything like that. So that's kind of what made me decide to quit. Plus, I mean, I wasn't really, getting anywhere. I didn't see myself, going anywhere with the WWE. I think they had, when they bought WCW, there was like a monopoly there. I thought at one time I might could do like ECW or something, but then they kind of folded. So
I'm amazed by DNA. And I make the conversation. I say it all the time with Jana. It's like, oh my gosh, I can see that this kid actually looks like their parent. It may be just where we grew up. You're not used to kids looking like their parents, but
they may not have been their parents, right?
Yeah. I mean, behaviors. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is so crazy. Like our son Alex lays in the bed exactly like Jana, like the same thing, and then she lays in there exactly like her dad.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that there's like these things that are passed on through DNA that have nothing to do with looks or whatever. It's behaviors that are learned through DNA, or that stuff just amazes me.
Baby. Jenna, she's trying to be the star of the podcast.
Yeah.
Jenna, wait, Daddy's recording. Okay, go, don't go. Okay, she's trying to be the star.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's. Are you going to show a picture? She wants to show you a picture. Go show.
Oh wow, a butterfly. That is really cool. Did you do that?
Did you do that?
That is neat.
So she's taken after her sister too, I think. But yeah, it's so cool to watch to grow up and kind of see their interests develop and things like that. I'll tell you a funny story too. Going back, I kept all my report cards or whatever over the years. My mom had kept them as I was growing up, and I never really thought of myself as being special or anything like that. But looking back at my report cards, you can see like I was like in some of my testing and stuff, it was always like very high, like well above average and stuff like that. But I never really thought about it, right? But just going back, it was kind of cool. Wow, okay, maybe I was smarter than I thought I was at the time.
Yeah. Well, like that area doesn't have a lot of ways that can push, gifted people. I remember a couple of times I was tested for like the gifted and talented, but in Mount Airy, there was this one time, this is a true story. When I was a senior, I was applying for honors English or something. Mm-hmm. And they gave it to a girl because she was going to college and I was going into the military. So she would need it and I wouldn't. and I didn't get it at the time. I get it now. And she came up to me and was really, really nice and said, you really should have got it. And I said, oh, it's okay. I mean, and that affected me, but they probably shouldn't have advertised it. It came down to us two and had us do something else. And then the decision of, because my family couldn't afford college and had no idea of how to send me to college. And my alternative would have been living in that town another 2 years, which there's no way I would have done, after high school. I just had to get out of that town. You know what I mean?
I get it. I mean, like, see, I was the same way. I mean, I'm the first college graduate, right, in my family. There's been a few people since then, but I guess I kind of feel like I kind of set the precedence, at least. When I graduated high school, I didn't really know what I was going to go into. I ended up taking the test and decided to go to the community college there, and actually placed out of 2 classes, so I didn't have to take 2 classes to graduate. It's, they don't, my mom never pushed me or anything like that, but she just wanted me to be happy. Right.
But then you got this woman who encouraged you. And so how long did you and Jenny date while you were in school?
Oh gosh, it was probably a good 3 years, before I moved to, because I was 22 when we first met, and it was, so yeah. And then I ended up moving to Las Vegas in 2005, right after I graduated. It was like literally sell everything that I had and pack up the car and drive to my parents' house, sold my car to one of my buddies, and just pack my bags and just move out to Las Vegas. I mean, and I had lined up a job. I was considering going into physical therapy, and applied to UNLV out here, but ended up going not getting accepted there. But I just knew I was coming out here, and I landed a job at a dietary supplement company doing research.
So how surprised were you when I showed up there in Vegas with my wife?
Oh, very, very surprised. I don't know how much you want me to go into detail here, Frankie. You might get in trouble. but no, I was like, wow. I mean, it's interesting because we have a friend, Pascanel, and he told me he had hung out with you before, when you were a different person, right? And then and then he had met you since. He's like, man, Frankie's a changed man.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's good for him, dude. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to, kind of settle down and find you a good partner there.
Yeah, boy, did I. Awesome. I mean, yeah, that speaks volumes. Like, you probably wouldn't expect me to show up in Vegas with my wife. You expect me to show up in divorce court with my wife.
Right. No, I mean, I back in the day, I could expect you to come to Vegas and maybe get married and probably be divorced the next day in Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. I ran through them like the runs,
Yeah, no, it's good though. I mean, it's our women define us. I think they what's the saying? Every strong man, there's a stronger woman supporting him.
That's true, man. It's like I remember when you were dating Jenny and we were hanging out there in Wilmington, and she was making money and really didn't need anything from any man,
right?
And then now these roles are reversed. You're the breadwinner. She stays home with the kids, and the kids are just so awesome.
Yeah, no, we've been very fortunate, with that. When we had kids, it wasn't always like that. When we first had our first, daughter, Jules, it was challenging, I think, because we're both working, as many parents do. And, I was not, blessed with, having, a lot of insights into parenting by any means. I just kind of winged it, but I tried to do the best I could based on my limited, but yeah. And what's cool about, what I found too is successful, like looking back, it's like hindsight's 2020. I think this might be a DNA thing, but my mother was a very strong woman. Even she probably won't admit that, but she, raised 4 kids basically by herself, working, and so she's I've always surrounded myself by strong women. I wanted to show you. I can show you a picture of I don't know if you can see it. That's us.
Oh yeah, look.
Down at Wilmington.
Dude, there's this hot mess more. And then let's see, which one is you? Are you the tall one? And then who's that? Michael Gillespie right there?
No, this is Bradley.
Oh, it's Bradley?
And that's you.
Wow.
And Jenny. Yeah.
Wow. I don't remember that at all. Text that to me. I don't remember that.
Yeah, and here's me, you, and past. Let me see. I'll forward it to you. But yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, I was a mess. I can see for the picture.
This was that triple bar down in Wilmington we went to. Let's see if I can forward.
Now look at Paz. He looks like a baby too.
Yeah, he's a different person now too, for sure. I'll send this to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice.
Oh my gosh, that is Bradley. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Bradley's he's the only one of us still up there in Mount Airy.
Look at that look at my face. That drinking in my mouth. Like, gosh. Look as gay as Christmas.
I love for sure. Those were the days, man. That was like that's when I was in college. I think you were trying to relive your college days.
I was reliving something.
All right, so that was my long talk there with Jeff the Scientist out representing Vegas. And I had a really good time talking with him, and we, text every couple of weeks, and he doesn't have Facebook. He's a smart guy, but his wife does. And so we've been Facebook friends since the beginning. So I keep up with him and her. Actually, she posted this really nice thing about him today. What a great husband and father he is. And it had me crying.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so my wife came outside to the bathroom after showering to goof off, and here I am sitting there crying because I just read the post about him. So I completely sucked all the fun out of, that moment of my wife running out. She does this thing. She goes the super mom splash, where if I'm laying down in the bed, she'll run and just splash me while I'm laying on the bed.
Wow.
And, yeah, well, she's had to back off a little bit because since we got the little puppy Winnie, and then we got the even smaller puppy Coco, they see her running and either think she's going to play or whatever, so they run over to quote unquote protect me. So,
Aww.
Yeah.
Coco's your newer dog,
yes.
Right? The one that was afraid and everything.
Yep.
How is she doing?
Much better. She still is having accidents in the house, even though she was quote unquote house trained by her previous owner. But she's a lot more friendly. She still runs when we go to pick her up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that'll take time. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's doing so much better, and just so sweet, and when she calms down and loves on you, I mean, it's just, she's just so adorable. And I don't know if you saw the post that I made the other day, but Jenna made her a bed.
Yes, I saw that one. Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My wife
because
is amazing.
She is, and you're amazing too. No homo.
Oh, thank you.
But no, but there's nothing wrong with that either. But I'm so happy that it's not a complete 180, but it's like a 179-degree turn from when you got her to how she is now. Because from when you told me she was in like the car with you when we were talking, and she didn't want to come out of her crate or her cage and everything. And you told me her history and stuff like that. That was absolutely heartbreaking. And I thought it was going to take a much longer time for her to come around than how she's doing now. And I'm so happy that she changed a lot. It seems like she changed a lot from how you described her to me the first time you got her. And it's only been a month, a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
So about a month. So she is definitely feeling the love of that household, of your household. And little by little, she's reciprocating that back to you guys. and she does, like you just mentioned, when your wife does the supermom splash, she comes in and protects you with Winnie, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See, already she's viewing you as her parent, and she's willing to protect you only after about a month. And she, little by little, she's showing her personality and everything, and I freaking love that. I love when these animals show personality after they've been through bullshit. They're like a bullshit full like life of just shit, and wow, it's I love that. I'm sorry, I was just talking but I was just so surprised with her turnaround after only about a month. I love that.
Yeah, she's really doing great. One thing that's not great is stalking your favorite celebrities.
Great segue. I love that. Whoop. Yeah, another thing. Go for it.
I sent you a copy of the tweet from Mia Yim where she said she had people show up at her house.
Yes.
Dude, that is the craziest thing.
Yeah. It's one thing to be a fan, but it's another thing to be a stalker and use your fandom as an excuse, I guess. I don't know what they wanted with her and Keith Lee, but that reminds me of the Sonia Deville stalker story. I don't know if you're familiar with. Yeah. And she lives in Florida too, right? And there was a stalker. Yeah. So that was crazy. And I guess he wanted to kidnap her and harm her in some way, but that's never cool. That reminds me of a Rey Mysterio story where a guy found out where Rey Mysterio lived. I don't know if it's true or not. And he walked up to Rey's door or something like that. And Rey was home, and he asked Rey to sign these merchandise for him. And I think Rey signed it. Signed it all.
Well, that happened to Arn Anderson. He talked about it on his podcast.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know where yeah, but yeah, and I thought that was crazy also. I mean, it's good of Rey to do that, but I mean, he's a nice guy, it seems. No one has a bad thing to say about him, but that's still not a cool thing to do.
That's horrible.
Fuck yeah. I would be so pissed if I was Rey and everything. But
yeah, it's like, dude, don't come to my house. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's like that's the stuff like murder mystery shows are made of.
Exactly. Did it say how they found out where Mia and Keith lived, or
no? But I'm sure that's easy. And you can, if they say that, if they just bought a house and can find her real name, and you can look in the tax records or.
That's a different level of creepiness when you're actually trying to figure out or find out where a certain person lives or their real names and going through records. I know, some of them are public records, but just don't do that.
Well, so a while back, I think it was Sasha Banks had complained that, people were waiting at the airport and whatever. And I get that could be annoying. Especially if you're trying to get them to sign some piece of merchandise that you're going to sell on eBay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I also want to say that I think you should have the opportunities to meet your heroes and get their merch and things of that nature. So I understand that hanging out in the airport to try and it might be a little unnerving. However, let me tell you, people have been waiting in airports for celebrities since the dawn of time, or
Yes.
bus stations, or wherever that they're going. And I don't agree with paparazzis hanging out outside restaurants to get pictures to sell to tabloids. I don't agree with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when there are wrestlers coming in town, and you want to meet your hero. Where do you draw the line?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. But there was a time that I wanted my family to meet wrestlers, and I didn't know how to make that happen. And you know what? You could say, well, you wait for them to do the access or whatever. Yeah, you get 2 minutes and a handshake, and that's about it. Or you could just luck up and go to the bar that they're all going to, or I guess now that they don't do that as often. I guess now they play video games, which I'm not knocking that, but I don't know. But I think you should have the opportunity to meet them. But if they don't want to, then I guess they don't want to.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the airport thing, I kind of understand that they just traveled from one place to another. They're not in the best of moods. They're tired. They're just trying to get to the next destination, or if they're already at their destination, they're trying to get to the hotel and whatnot, and they're probably hungry. They're not at their best. No one's at their best at an airport.
Oh, let me back up. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to change my stance on this.
Okay.
Adults should not be waiting for adult celebrities.
Right.
However, I think there should be more opportunities to meet your heroes than there are. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But grown ass adults, we should know better than to be waiting at an airport for a celebrity because they're coming in town, because you just know how creepy it's going to look, and these people can't trust that you're going to not be a crazy person that's going to try and kill them or abduct them or whatever, right?
Right.
So yes, adults don't hang out anywhere waiting for the celebrities, except for at the venue of the wrestling show.
Yeah, or yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. I was gonna say or, but there's no other or that I was thinking of. But you're absolutely right. People that stalk, people that would sell autographed merchandise on eBay and everything, they kill it for all the fans that legitimately want to meet their wrestling heroes. And wrestlers know that. And they're wary of people that are stalkers that might like do things or sell their merch on eBay. And of course, some of them don't really want to interact with people like that at an airport, say, for example. And I understand that too. And yeah, grown ass people should not be waiting at an airport or waiting in outside a bathroom where they see their you're taking a piss next to a wrestler, and then you're like, oh, can I get your autograph after? That's weird. Don't do that. Don't be that person. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. The bathroom's not a place for conversations.
No, it's not. I remember Randy Orton did an autograph signing here at the mall before he became super huge. He was doing autograph sessions, and he had to go use the restroom. He had two equally as large bodyguards with him, escorting him to the restroom. And I don't know if one was holding it and the other one was shaking it, but two guys went with him. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that kind of prevents other people from barging into the bathroom and asking for an autograph or a picture while he's taking a piss or whatever. I mean, not every wrestler is going to have a bodyguard, but that kind of protection and situations like that is fine with me. But yeah, not like, just don't do that. Don't go in the bathroom and ask for an autograph or a picture. Or when they're at the gym, I see pictures where people are taking pictures of wrestlers while they're working out, or trying to take a selfie with them.
Man, that's just
weird. It's creepy.
Is.
It's weird. I don't like when regular people do that to me. I mean, it's like, ugh. Or take pictures. I don't like people in the gym. It's been a while since I've been in the gym, but I don't like when people are filming stuff in the gym of other people. If it's to themselves, if they want to show off like how they, they're flexing or doing some sort of squat exercise or whatever, fine. If the camera's on them, but when it's on other people, especially if it's like a celebrity thing, don't do that. Don't be that person. It's so weird. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. Don't. Ugh. Any other stalking stories you got?
Nope. That's it.
Yeah. Don't, please, everybody out there, don't stalk. Talking to you, Chris Zaha. No, just kidding. He loves Kevin Nash.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, coming up, I've got a interview with Matt Crowder and Travis Reigns. Now listen, Zaha was supposed to show up.
He no-showed, that son of a bitch.
He no-showed.
No, it's cool. He did mention before he doesn't really have time to record is not available to him too much.
So we talked to 2.5, 3 hours that night. Travis Reigns, myself, and Matt Crowder. Mm-hmm. The next night, guess who wants to talk?
Oh,
Chris Zaha. So we're on there, and this time it was Chris Zaha, Matt Crowder, and myself. And I wanted to stay out of the conversation and not bulldog it. First of all. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I had fallen asleep.
What time was it there when you were doing the interview?
We went from like 11 to like 1:30, almost 2 o'clock.
Wow, I see. Oh, crazy.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. Are most of your interviews at night? When you talk to people?
Yes, but usually not that late. But you California people, you're on different time.
Yeah, we're behind. You're from the future, which is kind of cool. I tease my girlfriend about that. I'm like, I have a girlfriend from the future. It's pretty cool. Yeah. She's like, what the hell?
Oh, you said last week?
I'm sorry?
You said we weren't going to talk about your girlfriend every week.
Oh, that's damn. Well,
she's world famous.
No, she's not.
Now she is.
Nah.
Come on, man.
Locally famous. I don't know.
We get 50 downloads a week, so 50 people a week get to hear about your girlfriend.
That's cool. I don't know how she feels about that, but that's pretty cool.
Well, she probably will never know.
No, I don't allow her to listen to the podcast. No, she wants to listen to the podcast, but I'm like, we don't even talk about anything that you're interested in except for food, but that's like once in a while. And then that's when I'm talking about food, and I already tell you about what I'm eating anyway, So she's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. I do not. Jen and I do not listen to this, even though I listened to part of the one I posted yesterday, just because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't screwing something up.
Oh no, you're doing fine. I try not to listen to it too, because I don't like listening to my voice. And the little quirks I have with talking on the microphone and everything, and stuttering, because I have stuttering issues also. I had what's it called? I actually took a language thing. I can't even think of the word anymore. Speech impairment or something like that when I was a kid. And I still, have my little quirks and everything, but I'm trying to work through it.
Hey man, I try and edit those out. I try to go through and clean this up as much as possible, because I know people don't want to hear, me sound like a buffoon.
And they don't want to hear me stuttering and saying and not, thinking of what to think of.
No, but they do want to hear you sound like Cheech Marin, though.
I don't know how to do it. I don't. I appreciate it. It's flattering. Thank you, Jamie. But I don't hear it.
I was born in East LA.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Oh man, I don't see it though, but that's, you know what? Now I'm gonna have to try to practice it. I have to listen to audio of Cheech Marin talk and try to emulate him.
Well, you know, the thing is it's probably not really even him. It's probably the character that he's playing.
That is true. From where, I don't know. From like oh shoot, you're sharing stuff. Okay. I don't want to do that though. It's gonna sound like it's gonna sound bad. Hey, I can't do it.
Well, didn't you have a Mexican period in your life?
Yeah, I did. When I had hair, I looked like a Mexican person.
Oh, so look, the music video doesn't come up.
Oh no.
It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta watch Born in East LA again. I used to watch that movie as a kid, and I haven't seen it since then. But
oh look, Skype mutes the oh no, it's the
because your volume thing is on. There you go.
Man, see, I'm a moron.
No, it's cool. It's we're still working through technology, even though it's been around for years.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh no, see, look.
I don't hear anything.
No, me neither.
Ooh, who is that? Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I'll have to play around with that sometime and see how I can.
Okay. Yeah. So Frankie was trying to play a clip from Born in East LA, and it wouldn't. I mean, the video would show, but there was no audio. So.
Yeah. I think this is the music video. Yeah, because he's singing right there.
Mm. That mustache, though.
Let's see.
Mm.
Can you hear that?
No, I cannot.
You couldn't hear that?
No.
Oh man, it was playing, but only I could hear it.
Oh, okay.
All right, cool, man. Well, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you for coming on and being my wonderful co-host. And we will see you next week with Matt Crowder and Travis Rains.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Like, are you for sure gonna give Shard the book, because he's the only one that did the promo?
If Shard wants the book, Shard can have the book.
Okay, cool, because I love that promo.
Yeah, it was tremendous. All right, thanks a lot, everybody.
Hey, bye, guys.
Bye.